Hi, and welcome to Vet View. This is our inaugural program, and my name is Leroy Davis, Jr., and I am the Junior Vice Commander of the American Legion Department of Alabama. And I live here in Phoenix City, Alabama. And we're going to talk about some of the programs and things that the American Legion do for veterans, and we're going to talk about some of the upcoming things that we want to touch on, and we're going to talk about some of the past things that have happened. But we're going to start out talking about the 4 pillars of the American Legion. And the American Legion covers 4 pillars that takes care of our veterans and their families. So we have, in the American Legion, we call it the family. We have the Legionnaires, we have the American Legion Auxiliary, we have the Sons of the American Legion, and we have the Legion Riders. And we all serve a good purpose and we work together. But the first thing about the American Legion 4 pillars is Veterans Affairs and Rehabilitation. And in Veterans Affairs and Rehabilitation, what we do is we help veterans to navigate the VA system. In other words, we help them to get their benefits. We tell them where their appointments are in the hospitals, and we even help them, assist them to get rides if they need rides to the hospital. We also make emergency phone calls and help them to get appointments if necessary. Because we do have a lot of older World War II veterans that still living and Vietnam veterans who need that assistance. And our second pillar is national security and foreign relations. And national security and foreign relations is where we deal with issues that we think are important for our military, and our national commander and our national executive committee men, they take these issues to Congress and testify in front of Congress. And our third pillar is our children and youth program. And in children and youth, we deal with the American Legion baseball, where we give out scholarships and we keep kids busy during the summer playing baseball. We also have the Boy Scouts. We have oratorical, which is a speech contest, and we have Boys and Girls Nation. And that starts out with Boys State. Boys State is where we send our boys to the University of Alabama for 1 week in June, and they learn how government works. In other words, when they step off the bus, they have to run for governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, mayor, police chief, or anything. And by doing that 1 week at the University of Alabama, they learn how government works. Now, the winner of that program up in Tuscaloosa wins a scholarship. The top 2 wins a scholarship, and they go on to represent the state of Alabama in Washington, D.C. at Boys Nation. In the last several years, we have had 2 winners to win Boys Nation in Washington, D.C. And the following week, when the boys come back, the girls go, and they're sponsored by the American Legion Auxiliary. And they go up and learn the same thing, how government works. So when they come off the bus, they must run for office as well, be ready to run for governor, lieutenant governor. And once upon completion, the top 2 girls there also win a Samsung scholarship. And then they go on to Washington, D.C. to compete in Girls Nation for the American Legion. And our last program of our 4 pillars is Americanism. And that's where we go into school and work with flag programs and different things to teach patriotism about the American Legion. And I love to say that the American Legion was established in 1919 over in France. So we've been around for quite some time, and in 3 years we will be celebrating our 100th year anniversary. That's the American Legion 100th year anniversary, and at that time, and if I don't hurt anybody or do anything wrong, I will be the department commander of the state of Alabama. So we're doing great things here in Phoenix City, Alabama, working very hard to take care of our veterans. Some upcoming programs we have that I'd like to share with you. We will be feeding veterans from Tuskegee VA Medical Center. Those veterans come in, we fix them lunch, they enjoy their lunch, have a great time, and then we bring them over to the bingo hall and let them play bingo. And they win canteen books so that they can go back to the hospital and go to into the canteen and buy toothpaste and toothbrushes and little personal items that they need with those canteen books. And we do this every month for our hospitalized veterans. And when you pass by the post and you see a white bus out there, 2 or 3 of them, that's because we have hospitalized veterans and we're feeding them and letting them play a game of bingo. That gives them an opportunity to get away from the hospital for a while and to get out and mingle in the community. In February, we're going to have our female veteran stand down. And that's going to be, that's a program that we run, and we bring females in to get a physical and everything. Even homeless female veterans we bring in, and we try to get them everything they need. They fill out the claims while they're here. We'll have people from Montgomery here to do the claim work for them. We'll have all doctors here and nurses, social workers who will help the female with whatever issues they have. There'll be 2 white exam buses parked in the parking lot so the doctors can do an actual exam. I will have guards at the door that will guard the door, and no male veterans will be allowed in. It will be only for our females and trying to get them their benefits and the medical help that they'll need. Because, you know, we've had some of our females have had sexual trauma in the military and different issues. So, and a lot of them are not aware of the benefits that they deserve. So we want to help them, and that's for the whole Chattahoochee Valley, that we want all the female veterans who have not received benefits and who don't know how to get their benefits to come and see us so that we can get them registered in the VA system and get them the help that they need. A past and foregoing thing, but it's the 75th anniversary of Pearl Harbor, and it has passed. But we need to remember Pearl Harbor and those veterans. We still have some of those veterans living today. And if you go to the American Legion website, legion.org, you can watch some of the films as they relive the horror of D-Day when they attacked Pearl Harbor. So you can remember some of the there. And I want to talk not lastly, but talk about the different scholarships that the American Legion has to offer. So we talk about the Legacy Scholarship, and it's for children of veterans who died in war. If their parents were killed while they was on active duty, they can qualify for a Legacy Scholarship. But we also, for the 9/11 veteran who has 50% or more in disability, his children also, or her children, can qualify for the Legacy Scholarship. And all you have to do is go to legion.org, and when you get to legion.org, look at scholarships, and it'll show you all of the scholarships that the American Legion has to offer. You also get scholarships from baseball. So we do that. Some of the other programs that we run in the American Legion is Firefighter of the Year, Law Enforcement Officer of the Year, Paramedic of the Year, and also Correctional Officer of the Year. So we do a lot of things in our community to support. So when you hear me talking about veterans, we can't help a veteran unless we help our community. Our veterans are now, some are retired, they're police officers, they're sheriff deputy, they work on the fire department, or they work with volunteer fire department, and even our active duty here in our community are working in our volunteer fire department, or they're part-time working for free for the police or sheriff department because they want to give back to their community. I'll never forget when I retired from the military, I started volunteering, and I've been volunteering ever since, and I retired in 1995. So it's been a long road of volunteering, and I was a reserve deputy sheriff up in Tuscaloosa, and as I worked for the Department of Veteran Affairs as a police officer, I still serve the community as a reserve deputy sheriff. You know, it's something to think about, because you take an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, and when you get out, and if you was like me, you go to work for the Sheriff's Department, or you go to work for the VA, you take another oath to support and defend the Constitution of the state of Alabama. So we never stop taking oath, and we never stop defending our country. And the reason why we do that is because we care. We love our country, and we love our state. And we want to make sure that we give back to those who gave the ultimate. Some gave all, and all gave some. But those of us who are living, we must carry the torch on. And that's why the American Legion is here. We carried the torch on because before I retired, there was other Legionnaires who carried the torch forward. And now it's our turn to carry it forward. And I wanted to talk about, for a couple of minutes, something that I wrote while I was just, my mind had run this while I'm driving. So I just want to talk about, who are you defending? And I'm talking about veterans. Who are we defending? It said, when we defend the vulnerable and minimize, we give them a chance to realize their potentials. We show them real love, and in a small but significant way, we reflect the very heart of Jesus. And the purpose of which the American Legion was founded. Veterans say to you, you have a powerful sphere of influence. You know, I always hear the pastors talk when they preach about love. And when you do volunteer work as what we do for our community and for our veterans, it's got to be love, because pastors always say love is an action word. And when we do for veterans, we're showing love, and that's action. So now what I want to do for all of you veterans out there who are viewing this is ask you for some love, to show some action. Because we here in Phoenix City, along with the mayor and the city council, are getting ready to build the biggest veterans park that's built around an American Legion post in the southeastern part of the United States. And that will be called Homage Park, Homage Veterans Park, with an American Legion post right in the middle of it. So in order to participate in this, all you need to do is donate $20 and have your name put on the wall in Veterans Park. Or you might want to buy a brick to go down the walk when you're going into the park. Either way, you can help by just coming by the American Legion and seeing myself or one of the officers here, or by just dialing 706-718-4440 to find out how you can help and get involved and make this a great thing for the Chattahoochee Valley area. And if you think about it, you have Fort Benning, Georgia, one of the biggest Army installations in the United States, and you have the Infantry Museum. Now, every Friday, there's graduation from Fort Benning. And when they graduate, they go and visit the Infantry Museum. Then we have the Great Naval Museum right over in Columbus, Georgia, and they visit that. Also, we have whitewater rafting and the zip line. Now we will have the greatest American Legion post in the country with the Veterans Park built around it. So you can't beat it. It's just good for us, good for our community, and good for the Chattahoochee Valley. So please call me at 706-718-4440 and buy a brick, or just donate $20 to have your name put on the veterans wall, or your father's name, or your mother's name if they're a veteran, or your grandparents. You can put anyone's name on the wall if they are a veteran. But if you are a non-veteran and you want to participate, you can buy a brick and have your name in the park on that brick saying that you support veterans, or you can buy a brick and put your grandfather's name on it, your sister's name on it, your brother's name. It doesn't matter. Either way, you are helping your community grow, and you are helping veterans right here in the Chattahoochee Valley in the Phoenix City area. Thank you. Okay, in this section of Veteran Views, we got retired Command Sergeant Major Ed Thompson with us. And Ed, I want you to tell us about your experience in the Army.
Well, my experience in the Army, I came in the Army the morning after I graduated out of high school. I had attended basic training at Fort Knox. I had already volunteered while I was in high school and did all the preliminary testing and everything, and all I had to do was take my oath. I finished my basic training, went to AIT at Fort Gordon, Georgia for Airborne Infantry, AIT, finished AIT and went straight to Vietnam as my first duty assignment.
So you was like me then, Ed. You was only in the delayed entry program for about 2 weeks or so, and it was off, because I did the same thing. I went straight, day after graduation, I went to basic training, and I went in Orlando, Florida, because of course I'm Navy, so you know how that is. But Ed, one of the things I always tell people to do is listen to a veteran tell his story. Why don't you tell us your story, your experience from Vietnam, if you don't mind, just a little bit about it.
Well, back in that day, I was hard charging. I went to Vietnam as a private, made E3 upon arrival because they promoted everyone to E3, PFC, and I was there 8 months and already became a sergeant. I was always a team leader and squad leader, even at a younger, lesser grade. I completed my Vietnam service and came back to the States and went to the 82nd. But upon my arrival back to the States, back then no one really cared about veterans, and they were spitting on us, calling us names and things of this sort, and it was a completely different atmosphere than we have today.
Well, that's why at the Chattahoochee Valley Veteran Organization, we started having the Veterans Banquet every year, November the 11th, so that we can give honor to all of the veterans in the Chattahoochee Valley. And this year, we honor the 50th year anniversary of the Vietnam veteran, because you were never welcome home, and we wanted to make sure, based on the President's proclamation, that we welcomed our Vietnam veterans home. And we need to tell our story to talk about our female veterans as well. Now, how was your experience with female veterans back in that time?
I didn't have any experience with female veterans. I was always in airborne infantry units, and we just didn't have any. The only time you would see one, maybe if you go to sick call or go to a hospital or something of that sort. A lot of the clerical positions were staffed by females, but I didn't have any direct contact until my latter years, when I was the Deputy Commandant of the NCO Academy at Fort Benning. Then we had secretaries, and we had staff in our S1 as females.
But they was very skilled at doing their work.
They definitely were, exactly.
Okay. And we just want to give them a prop too, because they did do a great job in the limited assignments that they have. And one of the things that we're coming up with here in February is we're going to have a female veteran stand down. Exactly. And what we're going to do is we're going to honor the female veteran, and we're going to have the VA here, and they're going to do exams on females. They're going to do claims on females that day to make sure that our female veterans get what's properly theirs, because the VA was designed to deal with men, and they wasn't really designed to deal with females, but now they're coming out with programs that specialize in the female anatomy. And so we want to make sure that the females get the same thing that males are getting and get their due also. Okay, and also, Ed, I just want to talk about, in a past tense, December 7th is gone already, but that was Pearl Harbor, when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. You want to talk about that, Andy, or say anything about that?
The only thing I can say, I went to Hawaii about 6 years ago and visited my son, who's in the military over there. And I went and visited all the ships and everything at Pearl Harbor, and that was very breathtaking.
Very breathtaking. And what do your son do in the Army?
He's in the medical field.
Okay.
And he just now made first sergeant. He's in the reserves, and he's also a federal policeman over there in Hawaii.
And I'm sorry, I apologize, because I didn't ask you how your wife doing.
She's doing great.
She's doing great. She's enjoying the retirement and everything.
She definitely is.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, Ed, I thank you again for coming by and doing this interview. And it's important that our citizens listen to a veteran tell their story. And that's what we want to do here on Vet View, is get the veteran story out of their experience. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I'd like to say thank you to CTV and to Ed Thompson for coming in, retired Sergeant Major, for we could interview him on our very first Veterans View program. Next month, we can look forward to talking about conditions associated with Agent Orange. We are planning on interviewing a 95-year-old World War II veteran who actually fought in the war and had to hide under a dead body to stay alive, for the Germans could not get him. And we're looking for some surprise guests also for next month to talk to. So again, thanks CTV for allowing us to do this program.